Okay, very good. Jesse, sir, most important question we spread it out. My office, right across from my office. How you doing, bud? How you doing, man? Jesse, you're going to be awesome, dude.
Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos, good evening. Welcome to Congregation Dor Tamid and our Friday evening Kabbalat Shabbat worship service. It is such a pleasure to be with all of you here this evening as we welcome in this day of rest, as we welcome in Shabbat, this gift we are given each week by our Creator to take a step back and rest, reflect, renew ourselves as we are told in our Torah. This Shabbat, we come together for a variety of reasons, and I know that a lot of you are together. So I'm going to invite you, if you feel the need to, the chairs do move, so you can, spread out a little bit if you're comfortable doing so, if you would be more comfortable doing so, just giving you permission to do that. But we're here for a lot of reasons. Some of us are here because it is Friday night, and we come together each and every Friday to welcome in this day of rest. Some of us are here because we are saying a prayer for a loved one who is in need of God's healing presence. Others are here because we are walking through the valley of the shadow and we seek the comfort and support of our community as we mourn the loss of a loved one. And many of us are here because we have a simcha this weekend in our community, a joyous occasion, as tonight we celebrate the bar mitzvah of Jesse Lichtenfeld, who tonight will help lead us in prayer. He will read from the Torah and then teach us from its ancient and sacred wisdom. And in doing so, we will call him forward as a bar mitzvah, as a son of the commandments, the newest adult member of the Jewish people. As we begin our service this evening, I'm going to ask everyone to just take a moment to make sure that your cell phones, electronic devices are silenced or turned off. And we are going to turn in our prayer books to page 128 to sing together the words of the Psalms that say how beautiful it is that all of us are here, brothers and sisters, praying in unity.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים שפרחים גם יחד 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 הנה מה טוב ומנעים שפרחים גם יחד.
Over the past number of years in our religious school, and especially over the past number of months, working with our cantorial soloist Mike Zuspin and our B'nai Mitzvah tutor Susan Grossman. Jesse has done a lot of work to get ready for this moment to lead us in prayer. The last thing he needs to do is to put on his talit, his prayer shawl adorned with the tzitzit, the fringes, tied in a specific way to remind those of us who wear it of the mitzvot, of the commandments from our Torah on which Jesse puts on his shoulders today as a bar mitzvah. So I'm going to ask us now all to turn to page 190. I'm going to ask Jesse to come forward to the reading desk. And Jesse, you can unmask so we can hear you. And I'm going to ask Jen and Eli Finkelstein to come forward to give Jesse his talit.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher krishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit.
As we do each week, we welcome in Shabbat with the bringing forth of light, spreading light to creation. So, Jesse, I'm going to ask us all to turn to page 120. I'm going to ask your parents and your siblings to please come forward, Lauren and Bill, Rachel, Max, and Charlotte, so that they can help you and help us light our Shabbat candles.
We sing together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, Shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
We continue with Jesse leading us in the responsive reading on page 124.
May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love and all who are lonely for friendship.
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness.
May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. We turn now in our prayer books to Kabbalat Shabbat, our service for welcoming of Shabbat, on page 130. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, nariya letzur yishenu, nekadma fanav betoda, bizmirot nariya lo. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. Raise a shout for our rock and deliverer. Let us come into God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. For Adonai is a great God, the great ruler of all divine beings.
Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Shiru l'Adonai Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. All the earth, a new song unto God. Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash. Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash.
May you please turn to page 136. A psalm of David ascribed to Adonai. O divine beings, ascribe to Adonai glory and strength. Ascribe to Adonai the glory of God's name. Bow down to Adonai, majestic in holiness. The voice of Adonai is over the waters. The God of glory thunders. Adonai over the mighty waters. The voice of Adonai is power. The voice of Adonai is majesty. The voice of Adonai breaks cedars. Adonai shatters the cedars of Lebanon. God makes Lebanon skip like a calf, Syrian like a young wild ox. The voice of Adonai kindles flames of fire. The voice of Adonai convulses the wilderness. Adonai convulses the wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of Adonai causes hands to calve and strips forests bare. While in God's temple all say glory. Adonai sat enthroned at the floor. Adonai sits enthroned, sovereign forever. May Adonai grant strength to God's people. May Adonai bestow on God's people's well-being.
We turn now to page 138 as we welcome in the Sabbath bride with the singing of L'Chadodi. Tonight we will sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we reach the 9th and final verse, we rise and face the doorway of the sanctuary, hoping to catch a glimpse of the Sabbath bride as she enters our presence.
L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'ribor echad, Ishmi'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. V'shem multiferet v'litila. Try singing with me. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor habaracha. Merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva oret umiori. Daveri, kivod Adonai alayek nigla. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Ovi v'shalom materet bala, gam v'simcha u'v'tzola. Tochem unei am segula. Boi kala, lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela.
We turn now to page 145 as Jesse offers this reading.
Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of the withered leaf, on a ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways.
We transition now into the Shema and its blessings with the words of the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144. Amen.
Kirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon u'yomechon, u'b'chayete chol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kari ve'immeru.
Amen.
Yeheshmei rabba mevorach, le'alam ulal me'almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, ve'yishtabach, yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, ve'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, Shemei de Kudesha berichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush birchata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma, ve'immeru, amen. Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai. Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Barechu et Adonai Hamorach. Baruch Adonai Hamorach Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared?
Please be seated as Jesse will continue leading us on page 149 in the middle of the page.
This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is an hour of change, and within it we stand quietly. On the border of light what lies before us. Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over?
Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amecha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, O אותנו למדתה. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשופנו, ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו, ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, נגע יומם ולילה. ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue responsively on page 157.
In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say Adonai. There is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in the darkest ages your vision of world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Yai lai 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 lai.
Yai lai 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 lai.
Yai lai 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 lai.
Yai lai 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 lai.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neder b'kodesh, mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha b'kodesh. Torah tehilot, osef eleh. Torah tehilot, osef eleh. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Baruch ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
We turn now to page 160 for the Hashkivenu, our liturgical lullaby that asks God to watch over us as we lie down tonight, to grant over each one of us, our families, our friends, our community, all creation a Shabbat Shalom, a shelter of peace.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Ufrohos aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufrohos aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
Jesse, before the service, I happened to meet a number of your friends who were sitting near the back of the sanctuary, and what I told them was that there will be at least a moment during the service where clapping is encouraged. So what I also told them is that I won't be able to do it on beat, but I hope they will. So I hope that you'll all join us in clapping along, singing along, and rejoicing in this moment that is Shabbat, this day that the Torah teaches us, in words we find on page 162, will renew our souls.
Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We now turn in our prayer books to page 164 for the Tefillah, the central prayer section of our service. And I invite you, if you are able, to please rise.
Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim ve'Konei HaKol, ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot ve'Imahot, u'mevii Geula livnei bneihem, leman Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol atah Rav leHoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chayim bechesed, Mechaye HaKol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al giburot, Umido melach, Melech mebit u'mechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Ve'ne'eman ata lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kedoshim b'chol yom yehalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
We take a moment now in silent prayer and reflection, using the words in our prayer books from page 172 through 181 as a guide to your prayer, but also, and more importantly, the thoughts and prayers that you hold in your hearts and minds. When you have finished, I invite you to be seated, and we will conclude this section of our service then with a prayer for peace.
Ose shalom b'roma, Ose shalom b'roma, Hu ya'aseh shalom, Hu ya'aseh shalom, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. shalom. B'romav, Ose shalom. B'romav, Hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh shalom. Alleluia. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down.
In addition to celebrating Shabbat, in addition to celebrating the simcha of Jesse becoming a bar mitzvah on this Shabbat, it is also a special Shabbat for another reason. It is a Shabbat we call Shabbat Mivarchim, the Shabbat of blessing. And that is because it is on this Shabbat that we bless the upcoming Hebrew month, which is the month of Elul, the month that immediately precedes the high holy days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So, as they say, starting this week with Elul, it's real. The high holidays are coming, and with it, our process of chashbon hanefesh, of the accounting of our souls, and of tshuva, of turning to a better place as we approach the new year. So I'm going to ask now that we all rise and turn to page 379 so that we can bless the new month. And the tradition is we don't say the date of the beginning of the new month until we actually say the blessing, so you'll hear it in just a moment. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu shetechadesh aleinu et hachodesh haba l'tova v'levracha v'titen lanu chayim arukim chayim shel shalom chayim shel parnasah chayim shetehevanu avat Torah v'yirat shamayim chayim sheyim alu mishalot libenu l'tova. Amen.
Amen.
Our God and God of our ancestors, may the new month bring us goodness and blessing. May we have long life, peace, prosperity, a life exalted by love of Torah and reverence for the divine, a life in which the longings of our hearts are fulfilled for good. Rosh Chodesh Elul Yeh B'Yom Rishon. The new month of Elul will begin on Sunday. Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. Well, Jesse, you don't get to go anywhere at this point. In a moment, we are going to turn backwards in our prayer books to Seder Kriyat Torah LeShabbat, our service for the reading of Torah on Shabbat. And in doing so, we will take out the Torah, pass it to Jesse, and then he will read to us from its ancient words and then teach us from its sacred wisdom. And in doing so, we will call him Bar Mitzvah, the newest adult member of the Jewish people. But before we do this, as Jesse stands on the precipice of adulthood, I'm going to ask his parents to come forward so that they can offer him their blessing.
I didn't realize I was giving the speech already. First, I would like to thank Andrew Mike, Rabbi, Jordan, Susan, and Ruth Ann for helping Jesse prepare for this big day. With COVID, it's been especially challenging for everyone, and I really appreciate everything you guys did to make this such a special day. This is a little Dor Tamid trivia for everyone. I believe that the Lichtenfeld family is the only family that will have had all 4 rabbis preside over a child's bar mitzvah. So, thank you, Rabbi Jordan. I think we saved the best for last, so thank you. Where do I start with Jesse? Well, you might think this is going to be easy after doing 3 of these, but it's really not. It doesn't get any easier. In the Bible, Jesse is King David's father, and the name means God's gift. And I think it's a fitting name for Jesse. I literally thought I was done at 3 kids, especially with my wife having preeclampsia with our last child, Charlotte. It was suggested by her OB that it would be dangerous for her to have another child, but Lauren always knew that there was something missing from our family, and as always, she was right. You were delivered 3.5 weeks early because Mom's blood pressure was elevated and it was risky. After that, you kind of did everything slowly. You never crawled. You took the longest of all 4 children to walk and talk. I wasn't so sure about you. But again, I was wrong and Mom was right. You were always very mature and wise beyond your years. You just got things in a way that other kids your age really didn't. I think that maybe that was, but you always had a knack of observing things and understanding things. And because of these skills, we actually look to you for advice sometimes. You're just very wise and always give good advice. You're smart and witty, which is easy to be around. You have a great sense of humor, which always makes us smile. And you really have completed our family. Personally, I have enjoyed watching you grow, although I don't like the fact that you're so tall, and will be taller than me in a few months. I love coaching you in soccer and flag football, mostly because it's fun to yell at you. I know how much you enjoy that too. You are my Giants game watching partner, and I love talking football with you. I enjoyed being a team with you in fantasy football a couple of years ago, but I enjoyed it even more last year competing against you. By the way, who won the league last year? Yeah, maybe next year I'll let you win. I know I complain about you coming to me and wanting to throw a football or play basketball or Xbox, but I really look forward to the time I spend with you. Finally, I'm impressed with how well you are performing today. Much like your schoolwork, it's a mystery to me how you prepare for things. I never see you study. I never see you open a book, but somehow all the hard work comes together and you do amazing things. And just keep on working hard and you can accomplish anything.
That blessing, we can all say, Amen. So now I'm going to ask everyone to turn in their prayer books to page 362 for Seder Kriyat Torah Shabbat, our service for the reading of Torah on Shabbat. We're going to ask the congregation, please rise.
En kamocha va'elohim Adonai v'en k'ma'asecha
Lauren.
Malchutecha malchut kol olamim U'memshaltecha b'chol tor v'hador Adonai melech, Adonai malach Adonai imlok le'olam va'ed Adonai oz le'amo yitin Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom Av harachamim heitiva b'rtzonecha et Zion Ibnei chomot Yerushalayim Ibnei chomot Yerushalayim Ki v'cha levad batachnu Melech el ram v'nisa Adon olamim Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Udivar Adonai mirushalayim.
Jesse, this is the Torah. It was a gift that God gave to Moses on Mount Sinai and taught it to Joshua. Joshua then took the Torah and gave it to the elders of our people, and the elders gave it to all of the children of Israel. And the children of Israel in turn offered Torah to all of humanity. The Torah has come down through the generations of our people until it came to the generation of your parents. And in a moment, having already given Torah, passed it to your siblings, they will pass it to you. But this Torah that they pass to you today is a special Sefer Torah. All Sifrei Torah are indeed special, but this one comes to us here at Congregation Dor Tamid from a town in the former Czechoslovakia of Loschitz, and it's a survivor scroll. The Nazis had collected the Sifrei Torah throughout the land of Czechoslovakia, intending to use them as a testament to what they had done. This Torah, having survived the Holocaust, went to the Westminster Synagogue in London, where it, along with 1,567 of its fellow Sefer Torahs, were sent to camps, synagogues, and institutions all over the world, with this one coming to reside here in our ark at Congregation Dor Tamid. And it is this Torah that was witness to the horrors that our people experienced that you will take in your arms today. Because not only is it a witness, but you then become a witness, not only to the history of our people generally and also specifically of what this Torah saw, but also a witness to the future of the Jewish people and its promise evidenced today by you accepting Torah right now into your arms.
Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael. Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu Gadol, Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. Gadol Adonai Itiunu Romema Shemo Yachtav. Lecha Adonai Agedula v'Agivura v'Atiferet v'Anetzach v'Ahod. Ki kol bashamayim uvaretz, ki kol bashamayim uvaretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'amik naseh lechol lerosh. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omed. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omed. Al haTorah v'al avodah v'al gemilut chasadim. Al haTorah v'al ha'avodah v'al gemilut chasadim.
Our Torah reading for this evening comes to us from the Parshat Lech Lecha, a parsha that begins with God telling Abram, who would then be later known as Abraham, to go forth, to take his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, his whole household, all of his flocks, all of his possessions, and to leave that which he did not know, to go forth to a new land, to a new place. And this evening, Jesse will read from a section of this part of the Torah, broken up into 3 sections, each one called an aliyah, meaning to go up, because not only will those called to the Torah physically rise up, but we know that as we bless and read Torah, the spiritual level of the entire congregation is lifted as well. The blessing for the Torah portion can be found on page 368. And for the honor of the first aliyah, I'd like to call forward Rachel, Max, and Charlotte Lichtenfeld. Ya'amdu Rachel Tzipora bat Velvel v'malka, v'Yakov Zev ben Velvel v'malka, v'Sara Gabriel bat Velvel v'malka, le'aliyah rishonah.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach, Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
V'sarai eshet Avram lo yada lo v'la shivha mitri ushma hagar v'tomer Sarai el Avram hinena atzarani Adonai miledet bona el shivhati ulai ibaneh mimena v'ishma Avram lekol Sarai Vatika Sarai eshet Avram et Hagar hamitri shivata miketz eser shanim l'shevet Avram be'eretz Canaan ותיתן אותה לאברהם, אישה לו לאישה.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'toheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
For the honor of the second Aliyah, Jesse, we're going to call forward your parents, Lauren and William. Ya'amdu Malka Rivka ve'Velvel Yaakov le'Aliyah Shniya.
Baruch hu et Adonai
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch
Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'chananu mikol hamin, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, notei haTorah.
Amen.
Vayavo el Hagar, Vatahar, Vatera ki harata, Vateka givita be'eneha, Vatomer Sarai el Avram, Hamasi eleha, Anohi natati shivhati behekeha, Vatera ki harata, Veka be'eneha yishpo Adonai beni uveneha. Vayomer Avram el Sarai, Hine shifate be'adei, Asila hatov be'enaye, Vahitani Sarai, Hira mipaneha, Vayimtsa ma'a Adonai, Al ha'ayin, Hamayim bar al ha'ayin borahat shuvi mer Hagar shivhar Sarai el mizevat va'ana telehi vatome mipane Sarai giviti anohi borahat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. So, Jesse, this is the moment we've been waiting for. Up until now, you've read Torah on behalf of members of your family, those who love you. But this is the moment where you get to bless the Torah, to be called to the Torah as a bar mitzvah, as the newest adult member of the Jewish people, to, for the first time, bless the Torah on your own behalf. So it is my privilege and my honor now to call you forward, to call Jesse Gabriel Lichtenfeld to the Torah. Ya'amod, 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 Yishai Gabriel.
Mala Adonai, Shuvi el Giviti, Vahitani Tahat Yadeha, Vayomer La, Mala Adonai, Arbe et Zareh, Velo Yisafer Mero. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'yehu olam natan b'orteinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach.
Koach. Jesse, you can have a seat and take a breath for just a moment after some hugs. And after our hearts were opened by those words of Torah, we are going to pause now in our service to think of those members of our community, our family, our friends, who are in need of prayers of healing. Some are at home, some are in the hospital, some have diseases and illnesses from which they may never recover. We think this week especially of Richard Zuspin, Lee Silverstein, Jill Van Team, Eleanor Goodman, Charles Goodman, Yuli Makovich, Libby Routman, Laurel Phoenix, Marjorie Whitmore, Jerry Phillips, Claire Levin, Paul Kershon, Eleanor Dodds, Reva Fisher, Chandler Jacobs, Cyril Ann Rosenberg, Aaron Withers, Brianna Jacobs, Leslie Knight, Dan Rubenstein, Cindy Andrews, Bert Singerman, Stephen Schiff, Mateo Velazquez, Dr. David Mazel, Ron Kurtz, Lily Withers, Mark Withers, Janelle Siegel, Juliette Siegel, Rachel Davis, Max Jacobs, Charlie Kaplan, Kathy Waldner, Ellen Green, Janice Rappaport, Abby Dewey, Marnie Mendel, Susan Abrams, and Jerry Jacobs. If you are thinking of someone who is in need of a prayer of healing, I invite you to share their name with the community as my eyes meet yours. Thank you. We think of all of them as well as all of the victims of violence, all of those suffering from the pandemic. We also think of those who care for the sick each day. May those on the front lines of healthcare be blessed with patience, love, compassion, and support as we turn to page 371 and we offer this prayer of healing.
Misheberach Avotenu Mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
In addition to reading from the Torah, Jesse tonight will read a haftarah. It's not a half Torah, but it means an additional reading that comes to us from the books of the prophets that thematically matches the ideas in his Torah portion, in this Torah portion that he read this evening, the blessing for which can be found on page 372.
Please join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam bachar binviim tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim v'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Abocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek.
Lama tomar Yaakov utaver Yisrael nistara darki me'Adonai u'me'Elohai mishpati ya'avor helo yada'ata im lo shama'ata Elohai olam Adonai borei kitso ta'aretz lo yi'af velo yiga ein heker litvunato noten la ya'ef koa ul ein onim otzma yarbeh.
We continue with the blessing after the Haftarah on page 372. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Tzur kol haolamim, Tzadik b'kol hadorot, Hayel hane'eman haomer v'yoseh, Hamendaber u'makayem, Shekol divarav emet v'tzedek, Al haTorah v'al ha'avodah v'al hanvi'im v'al yom haShabbat hazeh, Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha lechavod ultifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umivarchim otach yitbarach shimcha befi kol chai tamid leolam va'ed baruch ata Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen.
Jesse, having read Torah and Haftarah so beautifully tonight, it is now my privilege, my honor to invite you, our bar mitzvah, to be our teacher tonight, to teach us your words of Torah.
My Torah portion is called Let Lecha. My portion begins with Abraham leaving Haran to go to the land of Canaan, which God had promised to Abraham and his descendants. Due to the lack of food in the land, Abraham is forced to take his family to Egypt, where the Pharaoh takes Sarai, Abraham's wife, to live in his palace. Once Sarai is finally returned to her family, Abraham takes the family to Canaan, where he decides the land for him and Lot, his brother's son. From there on, Abraham and Sarai have trouble having a child, so Sarai invites her maid Hagar to have a child with Abram. When Hagar is pregnant, Sarai begins to abuse Hagar. As a result, Hagar runs away. Then an angel tells Hagar to return to Abram and his family, where she gives birth to their son Ishmael. At the end of the portion, God changes Abram's name to Abraham and Sarai's name to Sarah. God tells Abraham that every male child should have a circumcision at 8 days old as a sign of God's love. I believe this portion can be related to the troubling times we are in many different ways. I believe this portion can teach us that even through difficult times, there are always people to help you along the way. With family and friends nearby, you can achieve anything. As the pandemic rages on, the only thing we can do is hope for a way out. When everyone helps each other and we'll all find a way and guide us through these troubling times. Over the course of the global pandemic, my mitzvah project was to help kids succeed in math this school year. Math is one of my favorite subjects, and I enjoy it a lot in school. My mom and I reached out on Facebook to see what kids needed extra help to excel. We quickly got responses from kids near me needing the services I can provide. I got help from my sister to learn how to tutor better, and from there on, I was helping these kids tremendously. After the kids I tutored took the test, I got responses from them and their parents about their scores and how much they had improved. It was such an honor to help these kids and donate my time to make them better at the subject I love and to help these kids enjoy math as much as I do. I would now like to thank the people that helped me get here. My first thank you goes to my parents. They have really inspired me to do the things I'm doing now, and they have supported me throughout my journey. I would also like to thank all of my friends and family members who have supported me. I would now like to thank and acknowledge Cantor Solos Mike, Susan Grossman, Rabbi Jordan, and everyone else at CDT that helped me prepare for this moment. I am truly grateful. My final thank you is to God. I'm so grateful for all the people I'm so thankful for all the people in my life, my health, opportunities such as him. I thank everyone for helping me get to this spot. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Jesse, very well done. Thank you for that wonderful teaching. And at this time, we're going to turn in our prayer books to page 374. We're going to invite Sherry Goldberg, Joseph Lichtenfeld, Lawrence Lichtenfeld, and Hillary Lichtenfeld to come forward to open the ark as we prepare to return the Torah to the ark. And I'm going to ask the congregation to please rise.
Yehalalu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado. Odo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem keren li'amo. Tehila lechol chasidav, livnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. את חיים היא למחזיקים בה בתומכי המאושר. דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה. חדש חדש ימינו חדש ימינו כקדם.
Please be seated. You don't get to go anywhere yet. Jesse, Mazel Tov, Yasher Koach, very well done. You read beautifully, you led us beautifully, you taught us beautifully this evening, and even though everybody's covered partially by a mask, you can still see the smiles, you can still see the pride in your family's faces for the hard work you put in and for the great job that you did today in leading us in prayer and teaching us tonight as you celebrate this milestone of becoming bar mitzvah. So your dad said something important that really does match up very well with the Torah portion, that you were a slow walker. And God says to Abram, Lech lecha me'artzecha u'mimoladecha, go forth from your land, from your parents' house. It says fathers, but it's really your parents' house, from the place that you were born, to a land that I will show you. And you may not have been the fastest to get up and get moving, but you're moving now. And you're at that point in your life where you're being called, Lech lecha, go forth. Not necessarily to leave your parents' house just yet, but go forth into the future as a Jewish adult, into this unknown world that we're all facing. As we approach this week, and you read these words, Lech lecha, of this Parsha Lech lecha, of going forth to a new place, we marked the approaching new year. We know that newness is coming. We know that we have the opportunity to turn over who we are individually, to turn over who we are as a society, as a world. But the question is, where do we turn? And for the last year and a half, as you pointed out, it's been a lot of unknowns. But God is telling us, go forth. God is telling you, as a Jewish adult, to go forth. Take what you have learned from your community. Stay connected to it for sure, but take what you've learned from your community and go out and make a difference. That's the calling that we all have. That's the calling that you have as a Jewish adult, to go forward into the world and to do the mitzvahs. You're not just a son, you're now a son of the commandments. Go forward and do the mitzvahs. Find where things are wrong in the world and do what you can to make them better. It's now my privilege, my honor, to, along with our cantorial soloist, Mike Zuspin, to ask for God's blessing over you. We're going to ask everyone here as well to rise as we all now place our hands over Jesse and ask for God's blessing.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you safe.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May the light of God's smiling face shine upon you and be kind and loving to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God always bless you with the most special and the most sacred of all gifts, the gifts of shalom, of health and happiness, of joy and peace. Together we all say, Amen.
Amen.
Jesse, we're going to ask the congregation to remain standing and to turn now in their prayer books to page 586 for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, atet gidula liyotzeh breshit, shehu notesh shamayim v'yosed haaretz, umoshav yikaro b'shamayim ima'al, u'shchinatu zo b'govei meromim, hu Eloheinu enod. V'anachnu kore'im u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'nemar v'yadonai, l'melech al kol haaretz, v'yom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Please be seated. Page 595. Yesh kochavim sheoram magia arza, rak ka'asher hematzmam avdu ve'enam. There are stars up above so far away. We only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. At this sacred moment of our Shabbat evening worship, we think longingly and lovingly of those taken from us both recently and at this season in years past. We are in a period of Shloshim, the first 30 days since their passing of Jill Romaine and Scott Lushens. And we mark the Yartzites, the anniversary of their passing on this Shabbat, of Claire Frontman, Irving Lebowski, Abraham Boykoff, Rita Lowenberg, Sadie Cohen-Hankin, Geraldine Mandelblit, Hillard Bennett Shaw, Ira Tepper, Selma Friedman, and Sharon Fagan. If you are remembering someone, I invite you to share their name with the community as my eyes meet yours. Zichronam livracha. May their memories always be a blessing. As we take all of their memories into our hearts, along with the millions of our people who have no one to say Kaddish for them, the thousands and thousands who have died as a result of the pandemic, we turn now to page 598. Speaking the words that connect heaven and earth, the words of the mourner's Kaddish, we rise together as one community. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam l'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha b'richu, Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort all the bereaved here and everywhere with the blessing of peace. Together we all say, Amen.
Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen.
Our closing song this evening can be found on page 645. Please join us in singing from this week's Torah portion these words, Lechi Lach.
Lechi lach to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. Lechi lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi lach, to the place that I will show you. Lesimchat chayim, lesimchat chayim, lesimchat chayim, lechi lach. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach.
Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos.
We are almost at the conclusion of our service, but before we continue, just a few brief announcements of what is coming up here over the next week at CDT. Tomorrow we will continue celebrating Shabbat with Shabbat morning story time at 9:15 on Facebook and on our website. And then tomorrow evening, please join Mike on Facebook as we say farewell to Shabbat with our service of Havdalah. On Monday, we have continue with our Hebrew class, our adult Hebrew class with Molly. And on Wednesday, we will continue at 11 o'clock here in the social hall with Torah study. On Thursday, our prime timers will meet at 10 o'clock for coffee with me, and at 1, our knitting and crochet group meets on Zoom. And at 7 o'clock, Mike will be back on Facebook for a little bit of Mike music. Next Friday night, we will have our first Tat Shabbat in a few months. So if you are a young kid, have a young kid, know a young kid, come and join us out on the patio at 5:30 for a fun, brief service of singing and dancing and storytelling of Tat Shabbat. If that's not you, then come here at 7:30 for our Kabbalat Shabbat worship service. Next Saturday, we will celebrate Cade Crick becoming a bar mitzvah during our Shabbat morning worship service, and we will have our CDT movie night next Saturday evening, where we will watch The Greatest Showman. Then next Sunday, on August 15th, we have Rosh Hashanah Fest, a festival getting ready for the new year that we are hosting along with Temple Beth Tikva and Temple Kilat Chaim, both from Roswell, at Willis Park in Alpharetta, 3 p.m. on August 15th. Join us. It's going to be a lot of fun on Sunday afternoon. Religious school is starting then on August 22nd. So if you haven't yet signed your kids up, please make sure to do so. And the high holidays are coming. So if you haven't filled out your high holiday information, I urge you to do so that we can continue to plan and get ready for the new year. This week, we do want to add a special thank you to our announcements to Leslie Radoff, Deb Eskenazi, and especially our teen volunteer Tyler Hecht for all of the work they've done all summer in the garden, and especially to Tyler as he's about to leave our garden for the University of Delaware. Because it is the first Shabbat in the month, it is birthday Shabbat. So I'm going to ask if there is anybody here celebrating their birthday in the month of August to please rise. So,
Wow.
We do have a little bit of a special nosh for you, but the deal is, as I come around, you have to introduce yourself loudly to the congregation. For whoever sat down in the back, there's chocolate involved, so you might want to hear me out. Introduce yourself so we all can hear you. Tell us who you are and what day your birthday is, and if you're willing, how many years. And for those of you joining us on camera, I'm sorry, but you just won't be able to see this part. All right, we'll start right here then. April? Well, happy birthday anyways.
He's got an anniversary.
Oh, Mazel Tov. Anniversary? Do you have one? Huh? When's your birthday? And what's your name? Nice to meet you. Happy birthday. Nice and loud so they can hear you too. Sherry? Yep.
August 17th.
Mazel Tov. Happy birthday.
Joseph on August 29th.
Mazel Tov. Happy birthday.
Cooper, mine was on August 1st.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Good to see you, buddy.
Mitch, August 30th.
Happy birthday, Mitch. I'll come back.
Lisa Oxman, August 9th.
Ha-
55.
Mazel Tov. Happy birthday.
David Scruggs.
So they can all hear you.
David Scruggs, August 10th. I turned 14.
Mazel Tov. Happy birthday. And two more. Sorry, Al.
I'm Lainey, August 31st from 16.
Happy birthday. And I think Scott, last but not least.
I'm Dana's husband, Scott, and I'll be 50 on the 18th.
Mazel Tov.
Woo!
Is that everybody? Happy
Yo.
birthday, everyone.
Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear. And you can only say this in the South, all y'all. Happy birthday to you.
Mazel Tov, everyone. Happy birthday. Now, Jesse, we have almost reached the conclusion of our service. We just have to say Kiddush, Motzi, and a concluding blessing. And after the service, as we are at our outdoor, socially distanced Oneg, there are going to be a lot of people here who want to wish you Mazel Tov, who want to say congratulations. And it's my guess, but you may even get a few gifts today. But we want the first words of Mazel Tov and really the first gifts to come from your community, from your congregation. So I'm going to ask you to come back to the reading desk one more time, along with Ian Oxman, who's a member of our board of directors, so that he, on behalf of Congregation Dor Tamid, can wish you Mazel Tov.
Shabbat Shalom. On behalf of Congregation Dor Tamid and the board of directors, thank you all for coming tonight. I mean, it's your attendance that really helps to make this day for Jesse that much more meaningful. So Jesse, congratulations, Mazel Tov, and to your family as well. As the rabbi said, you did a fantastic job, and I get the privilege of giving you a couple of gifts. So, on behalf of the board of directors, we'd like to present you with the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible. We'd like you to accept this as the foundation of your Jewish studies and continue learning. The Bible is personalized with a book plate that commemorates this milestone in your life, and we hope that you continue your Jewish learnings throughout your life, and this will remind you of the great accomplishments you had today and the many more that you will have in the future. On behalf of the sisterhood and the men's club, we'd like to give you this tzedakah box, which we hope you will remember the commandment of tzedakah and to keep in your home and continually put aside money for those that are less fortunate. Please keep these gifts through the years to remind you of this joyous day in addition to your commitment to Judaism. And then also, within the bag there, the bar mitzvah certificate and a gift certificate from the Union of Reformed Judaism to be used to help fund a future trip to Israel. Once again, Jesse, we are excited. We extend our congratulations to you and to your family. All the hard work that you put in over the last month has certainly shown. So mazel tov, and look forward to a wonderful life. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. So Jesse, we're about to, you can set those down for a moment, because we're about to conclude our service, as I mentioned, with a kiddush and a motzi, and then our concluding benediction. So I'm going to ask Erwin Lichtenfeld to join you up here at the front, and you both can take a kiddush cup. There's one for each of you. And we're going to all turn to page 123 and rise for kiddush.
Take a cup, please. Yes. Yeah, yeah. Just take the cover off. Yeah. Jesse, you gotta grab one. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'yahava u'b'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh b'reishit hilu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta, Yotanu kidashta, Mikol ha'amim, V'shabbat kodshecha, B'yava u'v'ratzon, Hinchalatanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh ha'shabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
Chaim. And Jesse, we're going to ask you all to uncover that challah as we say a motzi together.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
And as the three of them take a piece of challah and have a bite, so go ahead and have a nash. On behalf of all of us, we ask for God's blessing. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'et kol v'nei adam b'shalom. May God give strength to our people, and may God bless all of us, all Israel and all creation with the blessing of peace, as together we all say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Please please leave your prayer books on your seats. They'll be collected later.
But I can tell inside, on the inside, everything is going crazy. But on the outside, if you know, I mean, I didn't even know that we got lost for a couple of seconds. I just want to say that, when you get up and you do these things, being perfect isn't the goal. It's never the goal. It'll never happen. Leading a good service is the goal. And part of leading a good service is, seriously, never let them see you sweat. So, and you were amazing at that. And you recovered so incredibly well. You got off, and your last aliyah, it was stronger than the first two. So I just want to say to you that there's all sorts of little lessons, and you may be thinking one thing, but for me, and I've done so many more, obviously I've done your brother and your sisters, what you did tonight was so amazing. And this COVID thing is such an additional anxiety and stressor. I just want to say how proud I am of you. And, you know, slow or not slow, it doesn't matter. You were just so wonderfully excellent. Thank you for making the first bar mitzvah of the year for us. Well, for me, I won't speak for anybody else. It's a gratifying experience.
So like I already said, if you were here for proof, Ella, your videographer, ask her about taping us last year for hours and how many takes we did.
Oh my goodness.
Mike saying like
100 million times. Yeah.
Because we just kept making mistakes. It happens.
Yeah. So I'm so proud of you.
Great
You
job.
was just so good.
Very well done.
Just so well done.
Now have fun.
Just amazing.
All right, I got a question.
I don't know
Don't
what
go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
We do.
Yeah, we're a little out of order because of COVID.
We're not going to make our
We
names
will.
2 or 3 different times.
This was his original parsha, and we decided, you know what, we're going to leave it there. When we read this, you were right.
You're good.
I was feeling it.
You're
Like,
good.
hey, what's up with
We're
this?
going to read it again in October.
Because of COVID.
Yeah, we're going to read, well, we are not, we're in Deuteronomy generally, but we're not making the kids who got their outrageously
Good job. I'm so proud of you.
This is what it would have been, his original day
Yes,
was
you
last
didn't have to
October,
worry at all.
So he's doing what he would have done.
so-
Got it.
Exactly, that's why. Gotcha.
You got a better Torah portion than me. I had leprosy.
You know what? Here's the thing. Okay, so the funny thing is, with leprosy,
Yeah.
so you get Tazria and Mitzvah. And every year, it's like, oh, really? When a kid comes to me and says, I've got Tazria.
Yeah.
This has been the 1 year during COVID where it was like, now you can talk about something because it's
relatable
It's all about
now, like a
quarantine, right?
disease, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
and you have to be quarantined. And we're like, we all know about this. So yeah, it was like the one time in my career where it's like,
Somebody's been able to relate to it.
yes, I know what that is. So, but yeah, so that was why we're a little out of order tonight.